Tonight's tactical enhancement is Trappist Double. Tonight we're playing Warhammer 8th edition and it's the Battle of the Beards. This has been coming for some time. We've been playing against each other for a while, and I've pitched my dwarves against Sean a couple of times. He's pitched his dwarves against me a few times now, and I've noticed that we have different styles of list formation and different ways of playing. So I thought it would be interesting to pitch the dwarf armies at each other and see how that works out. Sean, talk us through what you got.
Well, it's pretty much the same as last week. I've got full unit of Longbeards, well 19. I've got Hammerers with a Lord. Mm-hmm. I've got Ironbreakers. I've got 2 units of Rangers, 2 Organ Guns, 2 Master Engineers, and then I've got 3 Gyrocopters, your favourite toy, and 2 of these regular warrior units.
Okay, so and I'm assuming there's a rune there that makes the whole fucking army stubborn or something.
Oh, I wouldn't tell you that, but of course, probably.
You said you had a Lord flapping around here somewhere.
Yeah, the guy with the deep sour look and the big axe.
Oh, okay, so he's been upgraded from Grumpy Unit Champion to Grumpy Lord?
Yes.
Alright, very good.
He is Gareth Groth One-Eyed, I'm calling this the army, and we'll use him as the actual banner's name.
Oh, okay. Oh, right, okay, so you're taking the special character?
No, he's just I'm just going to name the Lord.
Oh, okay, yep, no, right, named after the banner, cool.
Fair enough.
So the difference from last time is you ditched 1 unit of regular infantry in exchange for a couple more characters.
A Lord, basically, and I got rid of the special character and bought 2 Master Engineers.
Right, oh, I see.
Because he was 160 points, and these guys cost 140.
Yep, and they buy entrenchments, which count as an obstacle, which will slow down my cannons, which you no doubt anticipated.
It's just something I would do anyway, because I looked at...
Well, it's a good idea when you think about how our armies fight.
And I thought, well, I don't have to put them in entrenchments, but if you've got cannons, I can. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Now, this army is as close as I can get to my old tournament style lists from back in the day with the current points makeup. So I've got a stonkingly expensive Lord, a fairly expensive standard bearer. What do we got? We've got a block of 49 warriors, full command, a block of 24 Longbeards, full command, 24 Ironbreakers, full command, and 24 Miners, full command. They're supported by a couple of cannon which have runes on them to stop them from exploding quite as readily as they would like to, and a flying rubber dinghy.
Excellent.
What I used to do back in the day was take more or less the same army. I can't remember if I used to use the Miners as much, but what I would do is take actually 3 cannon, but I wouldn't put any runes on them because they're only 90 points. And then I just marched forward this massive block into combat, and yeah, I did take the Miners actually. So I'd have 3 cannon, no chopper, but I'd have an extra Thane, so each of these big infantry blocks had a character in it. That's the way I used to do it.
It's a good mix.
Which is something I got into doing before 8th edition, when anyone with higher initiative would effectively wipe out the entire front rank and I'd have nothing to hit back with. That's the way the fucking rules are written in those editions.
7th edition. 7th edition army books with 8th edition rules wasn't too bad either, actually. But,
worked well for the Dwarves, mostly because the cannon were cheap.
Yes.
But yeah, 8th edition probably works better overall with the little buffs you get for their strength and parry and all that. Yeah, and a couple of other magical bits of whoop-de-doo, which we might talk about later on if they become effective.
Oh, it's...
Runes and shit.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, I do have a tendency to max out my Lord.
Really?
Never. Yes, no, indeed. All right. So we'll commence deployment, and then we'll show the lineup before we start hocking the proper biffo at each other.
Okay.
Right, we're deployed. My deployment's fairly standard. A couple of cannon on the flank because I don't want them interrupting the line, and I'm going to need the freedom of movement for shot and the line. There's a wall which should stop too much manoeuvre going around the flank, although looks like the way that Sean's deployed, he's not going to exploit my right flank anyway. This was all deployed before the Rangers turned up, but Sean did point out that I parked my cannon right next to a forest, and he had Rangers, and he very kindly allowed me to redeploy the chopper over here, which kept the Rangers out of the forest. That was very nice of him. That was a bit of a foobar on my part. Now, how would you describe the thinking of your line?
Gonna hold you up, shoot the crap out of you, kill the cannons, kill the chopper, and then just kill your 2 minor units, and then keep your big unit and just ignore it.
Alright, so you're going to refuse a flank and shoot the shit out of me, basically, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, something along those lines. We'll try. I'll see if it works. I don't know.
Yeah, you certainly brought more firepower. I did consider doing a more of a shooty balanced list, but
no.
The idea was to take the sort of list that, like this is the list that I would take when left to my own devices. I probably would have taken, I don't know, maybe something else instead of the chopper, but the chopper's a lot of fun.
This is experimental, but it's also, I know who I'm playing, so it's a bit unfair, because usually you cater your armies to a meta. So if you have a tournament scene, you take a meta and play to it. But I'm finding this is quite good. Yeah, it's got a lot of push forward, and the only thing I haven't taken is miners, which is, I almost did.
It's a proper dwarf army. It's a walk up and bash somebody army.
Yeah.
With war machines.
Yeah.
The helicopters are very 8th edition, having 3 other buggers. But
we have got these in 3rd edition, you realise?
Well, I know, but people generally didn't take more than 1 back in the day.
Well, they were too expensive. Now they're 80 points. It's like dirt cheap.
I know, they had shit to sell. Well, I was saying earlier that when they re-released Dwarfs 8th edition, it's like they put all of their profit margin into the helicopters. Because everyone's already got armies. Why do you need another bunch of guys? But, I'll have another 6 choppers, thanks. But you know, I was thinking of how would I tailor it, my army against a dwarf army. Then I realised that, well, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to do much different.
No, it's. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, this is going to be yet another learning curve.
Are we rolling dice?
Oh yeah, that's right. We're going to see who goes first. I get a +1, thank Christ.
5.
Mine didn't even roll.
I actually won a dice roll off. That's an unusual.
Well, you won it last time too.
Yes, but that's like the first 2 times in how many games?
God's sake.
Well, I'm going first.
I really could have done with the first turn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, shit happens.
All right.
Okay, so end of dwarf. What am I saying? Dwarf turn 1. End of Sean's dwarf turn 1. He pushed his choppers up here. There's another chopper hiding up there. Where is he?
He's hiding.
He's doing a pop-up attack. And the line advanced slowly. Then he rolled up a motherfucking storm on the organ guns again. They're really starting to annoy me actually. And my runes on my banner, which would give me a 5+ ward save, did very little. And I lost 10 guys.
I hit you with 30. I shot you with 30 shots at strength 5, and you lost
on
10.
4 pluses to hit because
4 pluses. That's why I've taken them. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And even when he did a re-roll on one of his dice, it got it just increased. So you rolled 5 dice, no misfires. No, you rolled 10.
Rolled 2, and there was a 4
dice.
and an 8. I kept that. Then I rolled a 10 and a 2, and I re-rolled the 2 and it became an 8.
An 8, yeah. So he just rolled up a fucking shitstorm and smashed that unit rather hard. We're pointing out that maybe sticking my cannon on the fringes here was really kind of stupid when he's going to throw that at them. Because it means I've got a choice now of either hitting these guys with double canister or trying to take out his cannon. Because he's got barricades, I've basically got to hit the buggers twice to make it worthwhile.
Yes.
And I'm starting to think that my idea of taking double cannon was maybe not very smart.
If you take an organ gun, I thought you were going to take an organ gun and a flame cannon.
Organ gun and a flame cannon, yeah, it might be better. But the flame cannon probably would have got a grand total of 1 shot in the whole game.
Depends where you stick it. If
Yeah,
you stuck it in
maybe.
between these guys.
One cannon and a organ gun may have been a smarter choice, truth be told. Anyway,
let's see what you can do.
so there's a lesson learned. Now, yes, one day we'll see what I can do. Might not be a lot. Right, end of my dwarf's turn 1, and not very much has done what it was supposed to. These guys moved up, which is what they were supposed to. That's about where the good news ends. Well, no, I lied. The chopper charged these guys through the woods because he'd actually got into the woods so I could see them. I didn't roll a 1, so he did manage to get him in the flank. It's a bit desperate. I was hoping to go after these guys with the brimstone gun, but so I had this idea that he'll come around trying to shoot my guys up, and I'll send in an anti-helicopter with brimstone guns and try and shoot them up.
Actually, it's actually reasonable. Yeah.
It'd be very silly. It'd take all day to kill one, but I thought it's funny enough to give it a go.
All right.
In the melee, he did kill one. They didn't kill him back. They lost, but they rolled the 6 they needed to stick around. Just frustrating. If they'd fled, it would have been very convenient. So he's boned. If the choppers don't get him, these guys will. Now over here, we rolled up a 4 and a 4 for the grape shot. Then I re-rolled one of those 4s into an 8, which is okay. I was sort of half expecting it to blow up the way my day's going. I only killed 3 of the pricks though, and they stuck around as well, which you'd rather expect them to. So these cannon are going to get charged in the next turn. It's all going to go to pot.
Maybe. And
I'll probably be down by, well, we'll see. Let's just play the fucking game rather than guessing how terribly it's all going to go. Right, top of turn 2, this is Sean's turn. It's going, I should say predictably under the circumstances. He charged these guys in, but it was a tie. We actually killed one. Well, no, it wasn't a tie because they got a musician, but we're stubborn. Over here, the gyrocopter charged in, killed one. We did nothing in return. I must admit, I rather expected the Rangers to do more. These Rangers
did do more.
Yeah, did do more. They polished off the gyrocopter, and my gyrocopter did shit. I must admit, the dice are not my friend at this point in the game. That may change. In the shooting, these guys blasted quite a lot of the iron breakers, did very well. Whereas the organ gun over there rolled up a fucking storm as always.
Killed one.
Yeah, then I managed to roll up a decent number of saves for a change. This gyrocopter also rolled up, did very well as you'd expect, as template weapon. But I didn't get a single save out of that, I don't think. And that organ gun over there took a couple off as well. So I'm getting eaten alive by shooting. And I was just thinking what I could do about this under other circumstances, because when I fired this thing last turn, I did basically an organ gun's worth of damage against this unit. And both my cannon fired, complete with a reroll. That wouldn't have been enough to stop these cannons getting eaten alive. So I'm not quite sure how to defend my army against Sean's line of attack. And there may be a way if I was to tailor my list to his chopper frenzy and fight a very defensive castled up game in order to annoy the Rangers, but that's boring.
I'm sorry, but or you can maybe copy the same sort of army as mine.
I could copy the same sort of army, but I don't have the miniatures for it. I'm not going to buy the newfangled
You've
gyrocopters.
got enough miniatures, maybe not
gyrocopters.
gyrocopters. Well, you don't have to take. You could take a couple of organ guns and a cannon instead.
I've got one organ gun, an organ gun and a cannon. Yeah, there's options of things I could take, but then I'd be very much tailoring it to this particular one army, or you might bring something different next time.
Might work against. You could try this army against. You know what you should do? Why don't you borrow my army and play Emilio with it?
That'd be interesting. Emilio does take the cheesy lists.
You'd have to play it. It's not the easiest army, and you could. I don't know.
Well, I could take a very different. I could take something very similar to your army. I just wouldn't have hammerers.
You can borrow them.
No, what am I saying? I don't have gyrocopters.
You can borrow my gyrocopters. Think about it.
Food for thought. Yeah, because gyrocopters are freaking lethal, as it turns out. I'm starting to understand why you would take a lot of them in a dwarf army.
Don't leave home without 2.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I've done extremely well over the years at various tournaments, taking more or less this army. But I guess the local tournaments don't involve people who become high rankers in the national contests.
I have won a GT here.
Yeah,
with dwarves.
Exactly. All right. Well, having established the quality of the dice and the opposition, my excuses are sufficiently laid out. We'll see if I can pull some dignity back from the current slaughter.
All right.
Well, the one redeeming feature of this game is the turns are quick, as Sean just pointed out. So we charged with the whole line, and Sean fled. I've never seen a dwarf army run for the fucking hills before. Now, I've no doubt that they'll come back, but they don't drop the banner or anything, I suppose.
No, they don't. So I mean, when you run from combat, you drop it.
Well, that's a remarkable turn of events I wasn't expecting.
You weren't expecting that because now I get to shoot you an extra time.
Yeah, you do.
You see what I mean? So it's
and it's a very gamey way of playing dwarves.
It is.
Very tournament, as you pointed out.
yes.
I lost another guy each on the cannon, or down to one, I suppose, but that was not as bad as it could have been. It's just the inevitable slowly playing out. I did move forward 6 each with these guys, just on the rolls to charge. These guys went forward 4 instead of the 6 I otherwise would have done. The big problem is, of course, I went to roll my dice for the miners turning up, and twice now I've rolled the dice, and instead of fucking rolling, it's just sort of skittered along with a 1 facing upwards, taunting me the whole fucking way across the table. So they haven't turned up, and we will now proceed to get the shit blasted out of us again.
Yes, excellent.
Okay, end of dwarf turn, what is this, 3?
Turn 3.
Turn
yes.
3, right. So the Rangers cracked the cannon, as they inevitably would. That cannon's still hanging on. The organ guns took a few off of this unit, I can't remember how many.
1, 2.
2, yep.
Yep.
And
7.
between this guy and the organ gun, they just ripped this unit a new asshole. This guy flew over the top in order to annoy these blokes and create the circumstances for another turn of getting shot at, basically.
Yes.
Look, Sean's playing an extremely good game. Unfortunately, I mean, I've lost my cannons because I didn't really think through what I was doing. I fucking detest castling up. If I had castled up, I'd be doing a lot better.
Yeah, it's... Look, put it this way, it's a good way to test your army, see how it works against a maneuverable army. And I've had so much experience in doing this.
Well, you have. As I was griping a moment ago, the main problem I'm having is that Sean's rolling up an absolute fucking storm on the organ guns. And he rolled his first misfire a moment ago.
He re-rolled.
And re-rolled, and it came up like, I don't know, 10 or some shit.
Yeah.
That seems to summarise his shooting for the day. But the worst part of it is I paid points for a rune that's supposed to give a 5+ save. And we're
no, it hasn't
10, 14, 15, 16. We're 17 casualties into this unit, and I've not made a single ward save. And these guys haven't made much out of the ward saves either. So my defense, because I knew Sean was going to come and just blast me with these fuckers for quite a bit of the game. I didn't think he would castle up, but even if he hadn't, it'd be much the same. The drama is my defense against it just isn't occurring. It's like I didn't buy the rune at all. And my miners haven't turned up yet.
Well, that's speaking of which, you got to roll.
Yeah, we'll roll for that in a moment. It'll be interesting to see if I've got an army left by the time I finally make contact with you. Okay, my half a turn 3. So I charged in where I could. The deployment of the gyrocopter was the usual spoiling attack that normally we do with eagles, but a gyrocopter is an expensive way of doing the same trick. So I charged it with both these guys and with the long beards, just to make sure that we dealt with it. We did kill it, and the general idea was the long beards to maybe go barreling forwards, maybe even hit those guys on a good day, but of course they rolled a 3, did very fucking little except get in the way. So we've reformed the warriors. We'll see what happens, really. Over here, the miners, the ironbreakers charged in the other ironbreakers, and they won. We did remember to finally roll on the grudge chart.
Oh, I get to re-roll a hit. Oh, don't it's too late now.
So naturally I rolled a 1 and Sean rolled a 3.
No, 5.
Well, it's a D3. So
I got to reroll. I get hatred in the
and
first round of
just
combat.
to add insult to injury, he used a dice where the central dot is not visible because the black's worn out. So
I'm going to put that away.
I was thinking it wasn't even all that bad, but apparently it is.
It is.
So his whole army has hatred against my army now, apparently, whereas only my characters hate his characters.
There you go.
Yeah,
See?
so look at that bastard thing to lure me into a false sense of security.
There you go. I'll get rid of it.
And the last cannon was polished up over here, which is not surprising. Yeah. Oh, and of course the miners didn't turn up again.
No. Why I don't take him?
Yeah. I've never had a day where the miners have not turned up after at least 2 turns, but I guess this is why I don't gamble. Okay, so another turn of getting the shit shot out of me. What happened this time? Oh, this organ gun moved up because it shot so many things it didn't have any targets left.
That was last game against them.
These guys shot at this unit, did 2. Gyros shot in. And Did 2, which is weird because there was something like 24 targets.
Only one gyro shot.
Yeah, what happened?
That he marched over.
Oh, he marched, right.
Yeah,
so one gyro had 24 targets. And
5 6s.
2. But once again, and then the organ gun rattled off.
Killed 5 longbeards.
And out of all of that, I made one of my saves on the ward.
Yes.
This rune. If any one of my guys survives this battle, we're going to find the runesmith that made it. We're going to beat the living shit out of him because clearly he doesn't know his craft. Now, 3rd time lucky, we'll see if the fucking miners show up. I will say, the only good news for this turn is he's killed so many of the longbeards that they're no longer in the way, and I can now charge them into the flank of this unit, which frees up the frontage for these guys to charge.
You could charge this, and then charge there.
It's a bit far away, and if they don't make it, they might still be in the way.
So, we'll say it's 8.
So I need to roll a
5.
5.
No, okay, don't do it. No, I'm not
But it
gonna
won't
encourage
matter
you.
because I'll be in melee. So you won't have any targets anyway.
Yeah, it's fine.
So yes, look, we'll the way the dice are going, I'm not going to trust that. We'll check in at the end of what is it? 4, 3?
Your turn 4.
My turn 4.
It's gone very quick.
Well, it's
gonna be early
It's
night.
gone very quick. So there's no magic, and Sean's doing all the shooting. Right, bottom half of turn 4. I finally got some charges in. I did charge the hammers in the side. They killed the longbeards in the side. They killed 2 and then killed in return, so that entire block's gone, unfortunately. Then these guys killed all but 3 of the unit, but of course they're stubborn, so they stayed there. We went, 2 for 2 here, but I'm not lost on the rank difference. My general's actually in there, but he's tooled up to deal with toughness 5 objects and character matchups, which is going to be a great waste of his points, but I did have to make that charge and get locked into that annoying fight, so there's not much getting out of that. Oh, guess who finally fucking figured which way was north? So
They're underground. Give him.
we turned up there. I had 2 good choices, and the other choice was silly. That choice, coming behind that organ gun, but able to deal with this unit, or to try and sneak in between the 2 units. But he would just move them out of the way and double organ gun if I did that, and I've had, frankly, enough of that.
Happy now. But it was fun.
So,
That was fun.
in the next turn, we'll finish off the last of these guys. These guys will make a mess when they charge in. We'll have a couple of hits back. But it's going to get rather ugly in the centre, and we'll have an organ gun shot over there, although he might just charge me. See how we go. Anyway, that's for next turn. Into turn 5.
Your turn.
End of Sean's turn 5, and he charged the longbeards, the hammers, into the flank of this unit, which meant they got to dish out a lot of damage and not take much in return. We did polish off the last of Sean's longbeards. You did kill 2 as well. Nobody's panicking, of course, because we're all dwarfs. Then I reformed, and Sean also reformed.
And I organ gunned your miners.
Oh yeah, no, he did dump a fair bit of shot into these guys, but the organ gun and the chopper, they bumped quite a bit off.
Yep.
But they're still there. That's the important thing. We'll see what we can do next turn. Yeah, the large part of his army is redundant now because he doesn't have enough to shoot at. I really need to win against the hammerers in order to have a chance in this battle. So we'll see what happens in my half of turn 5. Right, second half of turn 5. What happened? Well, this shit fight just kept going on. Rolling dismally there, I have to say, but we're still in the fight. The miners crashed into the organ gun, killed it. Then the engineer ran away, and he ran stupidly far. Kind of reminiscent of last game. Your guys are very good at running away. Here's the problem. I chased after him and managed to end up in exactly the right place to get charged in the flank by these bastards. That said, if I stayed where I was, I'd just get the shit shot out of me by the remaining organ gun and 2 gyrocopters. So sitting still wasn't a great solution either. In fact, I think even if you didn't kill them all, you would have rendered them to a point where I couldn't charge anything. That would have been terrible. More interestingly, in this fight here, the Lord took a wound off my standard bearer. He's not rolling very well, but at least he's alive. Might not be next turn. But we're in the melee with these guys. We just rolled fistfuls of dice. I lost 11, they lost 14. If I'm lucky, I'll polish them off next turn, and then we'll see where that puts us points-wise.
Okay.
Into turn 6. What a goddamn shit fight. They charged. These guys tried to. I moved my general and punched. What the fuck am I saying? Punched a bunch of these guys.
No.
Oh, it's that point in the evening. That was a tie once again. I'm running out of guys, but they're still there.
You're running out of men. So, Percy's dead again.
Yes, indeed. Nobody did any wounds there. Chopper charged in, and these guys charged in. They're just some casualties, but I did manage to finish off the last of the hammerers.
Yes.
That was good, actually. So we're now just in a fight. Unfortunately, my miners got flank charged. You rolled well, I rolled...
Particularly, you killed one.
Yeah, I did shit. I wasn't expecting a lot, but I did really badly. Then I rolled really... Well, I needed...
You rolled 8, I rolled 9.
Yeah, basically everything went the wrong way on that one. It's been the story of this game in many ways. But I was just in a really stupid position with very few options anyway. The only other option was to sit there and get the shit shot out of me and possibly be annihilated without actually having taken out the anything else. So, I don't know, maybe chasing after the runesmith was a bad idea. It's hard to say. You have a chance to do something, or you just sit there like a turkey and get shot. And maybe that saves you points, maybe you get destroyed anyway. So that's the state of play, and we're now into the bottom half of turn 6.
Okay.
We'll see if I can recover anything.
Yeah.
Okay, bottom of turn 6. What happened? The dice escaped me once again, and the imbalance of kills here was fucking obscene. My general killed one guy, and I think I killed one out of the Ironbreakers with everything else. And that was it. And then they killed a bunch of my guys. But we had to blow the rune that lets me roll morale on a 1d6.
Otherwise you would have run away.
Over here, he finally killed the battle standard bearer, which is annoying.
Huzzah.
But in the mix, it was a tie.
Huzzah.
Right down to the musicians. Now we'll do some maths and see what the damage is. Right, we've done the math, and we have on my side about 1,278 points of dead, plus or minus a standard or two. Well, I got one standard out of me. And then I've killed 847, and I've taken a couple of standards.
One.
But we're not sure.
Two,
We're not
three.
sure about a couple of standards in the mix
Two
here.
at most.
So it doesn't really matter. The standards are, it's a bit over 400 points difference. So I've lost, but it's not quite the fucking staggering massacre that it was looking like it was going to be earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm. True.
Well, now, I don't always blame my tools, but I have to say this was a fucking shit show on the dice front. I had everything go the wrong way for most of the game. Because Sean, he had a couple of bad moments, but most of his stuff rolled really well.
They were all okay.
Most of the organ guns that were a shit show, and there are a couple of times where the melee, it's more that my dice didn't work than yours being particularly impressive.
Oh, they were impressive. I mean, you made a few good saves. I mean, at times your organ gun, it destroyed your longbeards.
Yeah, if the longbeards had not been so utterly annihilated, or if these guys had a few more dudes left.
One iron breaker left. That would have
That's
been
hilarious.
Wow, you made a few saves of that.
The bottom line is you played extremely well, and you probably deserved to win dice, regardless of dice, basically. I reckon if the dice had not been so utterly rat-fucked, I probably could have clawed back a couple of 100 points.
All you need to do is break one more unit, and it becomes a draw. But again, equally, when I kill another round, I kill this. There's a good chance I break this.
Yeah, there is that. I mean,
it's
very
hard.
The only reason my Ironbreaker unit is so rooted at the moment is because on top of getting the shit shot out of them, I did really crap. I mean, they killed like maybe 1 or 2 guys in 6 rounds of melee.
Yeah,
my general did the rest.
I killed nothing for a while. So I was doing shit. Your general was killing one every couple of turns, every turn. Then the Rangers got in.
Yeah, and thank God they did, because
I know.
that kept me in the game.
Yeah, well, your general would have been beating up on my Ironbreakers.
My general was there to fight your general, but of course it didn't work out that way.
Well, that's because I avoided your general, because you know, like I do that.
Well, yeah, because you know what my general's like.
Well, I know what generals are like in general.
My general's got a 4+ ward, Rune of Stone, and an axe that doubles his strength against toughness 5 objects, so in other words, other dwarf characters.
Yes.
And he's got a thing that gives him +1 to hit, and he's got the Rune of Parrying like what your guy has, so he's harder to hit. So he's not there to bring down multi-winged creatures all at once, but he's there to last in a challenge.
50 strong, that was.
Yep.
So you had, how many dwarves do you start with? You started with 25?
2 units of 24 plus the miners of 24.
And 50.
And 49 there. Plus
and
2
general,
characters.
yeah.
So it was a bit shy of 100. It's about 120 odd. These plus 2 cannon and gyro.
Alright, so you have like 125 figures. You now have 13 left on the battle board.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14.
14.
14
Okay, you have
board.
14 figures left out of that army.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I mean, the miners had an unfortunate
accident
situation when they got flank charged. That was just anywhere I brought the miners on is going to be a shit show. But
you could have sat them back of the board and just
why
gone.
the fuck would I do that?
Well, because it's like, I'm just going to die if I come on.
Anywhere I put them, they were either going to get the living shit shot out of them, or they were going to be in a messy fight. At least they got to kill something before getting blasted 6 ways for Sunday.
Well, they got blasted. Oh, they actually killed 6 to start with.
But if I brought them anywhere else on the table, I would have had to hit them in the fucking trees, and even then you would have been hitting them with 2 choppers by turn 5.
Yeah, true.
Multiple shots on the choppers, and an organ gun would have been getting them. And it's just one of those situations where...
Yes, it was an evil game.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
No,
got
it's
very
fine.
frustrated with the shooting because I had a defense against it because I knew it was going to happen. And that rune did fuck all.
It's not always worth taking... I mean, look...
It should have eroded the casualties I took by about a third.
I'm famous for taking dwarves to an army and only having 2 dispel dice.
Yeah, that's fine. I never bring... I won't say never, but it's extremely rare that I'll ever bring a runesmith or anything that's dwarf army. I just muck around with magic with it.
Well, the thing is, it gives you 1 dispel scroll.
Yep.
Yeah, if you take a dispel scroll, and
And if the other bastard really wants the spell to work, he's going to throw his dice at it anyway.
Well, remember, you've got to take that rune, that spell where it take wounds.
Yeah, that's
That one I pulled on you.
That thing's hilarious. I've used it a couple of times. I don't really bet on actually doing anything. No, look, I think you had some tactics and some strategies in there that were extremely effective.
Like run away?
Yeah, I'd not seen that before with the Dwarf army. And because you had your units immediately behind, it meant they got the extra movement, essentially,
To get the fuck
jump
out
on
of
the
it.
other side. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good strategy. I have to remember that one. The gyros did what the gyros are always going to do. I had a plan as to how to deal with them, but then I went and did something stupid with my gyrocopter instead. Shouldn't have done that.
Well,
But my cannon were always going to go anyway. It was just stupid trying to stop that.
you lost your gyro straight off the bat.
Yeah, I should have had my gyro gun hunting and chasing around after your gyros and shooting them with the brimfire gun. That would have been entertaining at least.
So, well, hang on. So, if you've got to take a panic test, even if you're in combat. I thought if you're in combat, I'll have a look. I'll have a look tonight. I think if you're in combat, maybe it's a different edition. You don't take panic checks for units because you're too busy beating the shit out of each other.
It's quite possibly from a different edition. I did just check it then, and unless I missed something in the fine print, it's also possible it's one of those things that's in the big book and not the little book.
I've
only got the little book.
I've got the big book.
So,
14 figures.
Never mind the figures. It's the game of toy soldiers. I think you played better. That's the bottom line. So you should have won. The strategies and things I did used to work just fine down the local club when the tournaments were a grand total of about 12 to 16 people. But this is a different league, as it were.
I've also got the miniatures to play these things.
That's right.
And other people don't.
I don't have the figures to use the strategies that you had.
Yeah.
So I think if I'd taken an organ gun, it might have helped a bit.
Probably would have killed a lot of shit if I didn't take care of it pretty straight off the bat.
If I'd had the same bad deployment, I might have been able to kill some more guys first. But I don't know if that would have changed much in terms of the grand outcome of the game.
The thing is, the organ gun, it has to, if he doesn't have a master engineer with it, which is another 70 points, where you could have got rid of that banner that did fuck all, give it to your organ gun.
Look,
And then,
statistically, I need the banner. The problem is it didn't fucking work. I should have had an extra rank, at least an extra rank each for my Ironbreakers and my Longbeards when they finally got into combat, and they didn't have it. And that made a huge difference.
Can't believe I knocked you down to so few, considering how big that was to start with.
And look, an extra rank on this unit, and you would have been losing every turn instead of tying.
Yep.
Extra rank on the Longbeards, and they would have smashed your Longbeards a turn sooner.
Well, I killed your blew the whole unit away except for 2 of them in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'd had 7 guys instead of 2 attacking, would have killed an extra 2 or 3 of your guys. That's the remainder of your unit.
Yeah.
And then I would have crashed through onto the next thing. That's a whole different game.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm not saying that it would have
I'm not bitter.
changed who won, because frankly your tactics are frightening. But it would have made it a much closer game, I think.
Yes. I'm sorry to kick your ass, but I didn't really kick your ass that much. It's only a small victory.
You won through tactics.
Yeah.
The magnitude of the casualty pile came down to the fucking dice.
You've got so many points and so few units. It's really hard to get a big win against you. I literally have to kill this whole effing unit.
What I've found is that when this army goes, it basically holds on.
Hang on.
And then when it goes, it all goes.
How much is this worth? That 50 dice.
Oh,
Yeah.
560 odd points. 559.
559 without the BSB, right?
That's right.
And
that
they're about 3. Do they have a standard, these Ironbreakers?
Yeah, the Ironbreakers weigh in at 356 with the Ancestor ring.
And the general's like what, 300?
Yeah, 298. Yeah.
298.
And the Standard Bearer, because I've given him Master Rune of Grungi, so he's got the wards, and he's got the Rune of Stubborn as well.
On the banner.
Yeah,
Because he can't have a magic. Where he can only have a magic.
that's
down.
right.
Yeah.
And then the Longbeards you blasted were 425. And that includes the answer. What do they get? Rune Stubborn.
So I only really destroyed one unit, and your 2 units I killed.
2 units of war
If
machines.
I hadn't killed the miners, it
It
would have
would've
been a draw.
No, you still would have won because the miners are only 270. But
Well,
it
it's
would've-
close
would've-
enough.
It would have brought it back to about 150 points difference.
Okay.
Yeah, and look, killing the miners, that was just sometimes you just happen to get exactly the wrong fucking dice roll.
Well,
and
you should have just sat there and let me.
yeah,
Well, I only had one organ gun left. I mean, I couldn't really do
If
much.
you had an organ gun, who would have.
I would have had to charge you to the front, and that would have given you a
Which
better
you probably wouldn't have done. You probably would have organ gunned, then
maneuvered. So
And
no,
then-
actually, because I get to reroll to wound to hit you
Yeah.
with strength for it.
Oh,
Sometimes it might be better to
look,
charge
that's
you.
that's the other thing. I mean, some of the casualty pile. In fact, some of the miners, I don't know what they rolled to stick around or not, but the fact that you get to re-roll under every goddamn first round of combat, and I didn't. I really should have kept my mouth
You
shut
should have
about
kept
that
your
fucking
mouth
chart.
shut.
Because
And this-
it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game, but it certainly would have. Well, look,
I
actually,
didn't
no, it
do
might have.
well. I didn't
have,
use it. I mean,
because-
the hammerers came in and did kill an extra couple because of it.
Yeah, and then the other guys came in and charged and killed an extra couple. You know what?
Yeah.
That
Maybe
helped.
made a difference. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of if buts and maybes. I'll just shove some terrain because I'm sick of showing what remains of my army. This is the inn from the what is it? The townscape. I think you would have seen it before. This is the windmill from that same townscape.
I'm pretty happy with the way it went.
Oh, I bet you fucking are. I'd
Yeah.
be happy if I was doing that.
There's a lot of shooting, but still, you walked away with. Oh man, you didn't walk away with much. But hey,
Well, I mean, it's a game of toy soldiers. They're not
It is.
they're not real troopers.
uh,
No, look, I think you played an extremely effective game. It was really interesting to see those tactics at work. I've not seen that done before, so
yeah, well, it's
one
like
shall live and
doing
learn.
flames of war, like we said. If you can't shoot them, you know. But I've done this to you before. I've run away before from stuff, and yeah.
I wasn't expecting the dwarfs to run away like that.
Oh yeah, that was a definite must. I wasn't going to. I'd just lose the whole unit in the first turn. If those
Yeah.
warriors had gone in, they would just die.
I was actually expecting you to charge them first against my great weapon, so you get your strength 4 on the attack and all that crap.
You went through 2 units. You went through 2 units. You went through the Longbeards.
Yep.
And you went through the Hammerers.
Yep.
Like hot knife through butter.
That's what
It
that
took
unit
a
does.
third unit. Yeah, the third unit held you up, and your other 2 units did bugger all. The other 3 units did bugger all. But that unit very effective.
This unit did alright. I mean, there wasn't much of it to do anything with.
If I'd taken Iron Breakers, I'd even have a hard time because you just get so many attacks. It's like, oh my god, 21.
Iron Breakers in a horde.
Well, no, if I took,
Oh,
you remember that
that'd be
horde of
rough.
Iron Breakers I took and just cleaned up your.
Oh, that's right.
Demons?
Yeah, I killed the bastards at the end though.
Well, hey, he had to get a Greater Demon of Thorns. Hey, come on, help us over here. We're getting smashed.
no. I mean, that was a huge unit you had.
Yeah.
That was a fun game actually.
That was fun too. That was close.
If I remember, I'll
You
link
ate
to it.
Bugman.
That was a tie in the end actually.
Yeah, no, just in
No.
your favour.
That was a fun game.
I could have been
Um,
cheesy, and again, I could have run away.
Look,
But I was like, no, let's have some fun.
yeah.
So
Now, look, you played an extremely effective game with a list of tactics most people wouldn't use,
you reckon?
and it was effective. It was very effective.
Okay. Thanks for having 6 turns.
Yeah, once again, we ground it out.
What time is it?
I don't even fucking know. Probably late enough for me having anxiety about getting up in the morning.
It's at 11.
No, actually, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. Usually we finish it.
Wow.
Yeah, and only get a couple of turns in.
I totally forgot to ask, what have we learned? We may have already canvassed that.
I think that. Oh, jeez. I learnt a few things again because I'm still out of date with the rules that you can not take great weapons with wounds on them. I thought you could.
Yeah, that's the point. We swapped it out for an extra
Giant
strength.
life targets, +1 to hit. That was last week.
Yep.
I think, the game is if you have more units, you have more options to do do things like run away. You have so. Yeah, I would encourage people to play with, a number of units. It gives you a little bit more redundancy, so if things die, it's not the game over.
Anyway.
I'm going home. Thank you very much, Chris.
Oh, no worries.
We've got a half-hour drive.
I'd say it was a pleasure, but only the second half of the game was a pleasure. The first half was torture.
Yes, and I knew it would be for you. I do apologise.
No, that's right. I selected the type of army and played it the way we did, and it was a learning experience, so thank you for that.
So,
on that note, thanks for watching. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you would have done.
not played Sean.
Yeah, not play Sean. Yeah, I think it's definitely time to call it a night.